Welcome to the Phlarpin Podcast. Phlarp stands for Park Hills Live Action Role Players. We are a medieval fantasy-themed LARP group that engages in unscripted combat against each other using padded LARP weapons and a shared combat system. We operate out of Park Hills, Missouri every Sunday from 1 p.m. until 5 p.m. It is our hope here at the Phlarpin Podcast that through the utilization of this platform, we can expand on the ideas and suggestions taken from our players in order to maximize player retention and to expand our player base. The Phlarpin Podcast is made possible by support from our players and listeners like you. If you would like to support us, please visit our Patreon where you can do so for as little as $3 a month. Also, any engagement on our YouTube or Facebook pages is much appreciated, and thank you for listening.
Welcome to the Phlarpin Podcast. My name is Jason Smith, or North.
And I'm Brandon Frazier, or Daveen Alwyn.
And I'm Jessica, or Mercer Stitch.
And what do you guys want to start with today?
I don't know. It's up to you.
It's up to me, is it?
Yeah, you pick.
Well, I guess we need to get like the recap going, I guess. We'll just do like a recap.
Did we get that photo? Because I don't think we did.
I was just wondering that. We should have gotten this together beforehand. Awesome.
Awkward.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's okay. We can start with play of the day while you're doing that, because you can talk and look at the same time.
You got a play of the day?
I will message Valkyrie for that photo.
I have a play of the day. Well, it was actually...
She just sent me... Oh, no. She went to... Okay, never mind. She sent me a photo, and I thought that was it, but it's actually a picture of Isaac.
Yeah. I saw it, too. It was it wasn't just to you, by the way. It was in the regular chat. Now you're looking dumb on...
Wow, awesome.
On the
so everybody
podcast.
knows it. Okay, cool.
So my role play of the day.
Oh, your own play of the day?
No, I just saw someone role play, and
Very
I would
North
call that
thing to
my
do.
play of the day. So whenever we were doing patrol, Jaeger had been slain by the ogre, and he was like army crawling, like reaching out as far as he could and dragging himself away off of the battlefield. Like he almost grabbed my foot as I was walking
awesome.
by, and I looked down and I was like, "Are you okay?" And he goes, and just like
That's amazing.
And I was like, "That's great." Like, because for a second I wasn't sure what was going on. You know, like it's cool whenever you can role play your death so much that people like question if you're actually hurt or not.
Mm-hmm. And I have it up here if we just want to go with this.
And
Did you send
I
the
have it as
picture,
well.
or-
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
I mean, I know we started with the last man standing.
Yeah.
Right.
So we started with Last Man Standing. This is 6/25 was the date today. Started with Last Man Standing. In third place was Lord Reese. And second place was Arno. And in first place was Lord Rand Rainwalker. There was also, are we doing the RPXP too? Just to
Yeah, I mean, we could just shout it out. We don't have to say who was from, but
Yeah,
just
that's
shout
fair.
out the bonuses.
So on that one, it looks like Rose, Rand, Arno, and Daveen all got roleplay experience. So
Nice. Congratulations.
yeah, thanks. I didn't even know.
Do you know what you did?
Nope.
Cool.
Died.
Did, like, a
Actually,
cool
I'll
roleplay
tell you
death?
this.
Role played.
Yeah, I did role play. I actually, it's kind of embarrassing, but I'll just say it. I feel like it's embarrassing because I like hold myself to a pretty high standard, and I underestimate people sometimes, which is a terrible idea on the battlefield.
True.
So I was watching because I'm like, I don't want to say terrified, but I know that if I get in an altercation with Trinity, I'm going to die.
Mhm.
Basically, because he has 2 disarms, and if he disarms my shield, I lose with the pole arm.
The pole arm. It's hard to get in there.
Yeah.
It reaches
Yeah.
So
He's-
like I
he's
try
really
to
good.
avoid him like as much. Like that's the only player I'll avoid on the battlefield.
Yeah, you try and everyone else tries to avoid them.
I don't blame you. Like he'll start pushing somebody else into me, and I'll rotate. I don't want nothing to do with him, just because I can't beat him with
I
those
mean-
abilities. So anyway, my point
Go
is,
ahead.
I watched him use both disarms, and I was like, he was down an arm. He had used both his disarms. He was cooked. It was over. There's no way he's beat me. So I rolled in there with my shield and my sword with no limbs gone, and somehow he took my shield arm, or not my shield arm, but my sword arm,
Mhm.
and like I was cooked. Like it was over. Like at that point, because I can't fight a pole arm even with a sword, and even if I
And he wasn't going to let you pick it up.
no, so I'm just sitting there blocking for an obnoxious amount of time with this shield. But anyway, my whole point is it was a sick kill by Trinity. I'm actually kind of upset that he wasn't one of the ones that got like extra experience in that game because it was a cool kill. But it was against me. It was a great kill. So anyway, shout out to Trinity
Yeah.
He loves it when that happens.
Yeah.
I also saw Midnight during Last Man Standing block an arrow with her sword. Like, she didn't even see it. She turned, and it was, like, right here, and she's like, "Ka!" with her sword and just
That's awesome.
blocked it. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
The last minute, huh?
Yeah, good for her. Yeah, so that was that.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have anything about Last Man?
No, I can tell you that I was watching Rose get killed. Well, I'm the one who gave Rose, I think, the bonus XP on that one. Is that the one where she got it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That was me, because after she died, she, like, sat there for a minute and was like, I don't know, like brushing her legs off or something, and somebody was talking beside me. They were talking about how did she just die? And I was just watching her, and I was thinking, oh, I guess. And then all of a sudden, she just fell over. I guess she was doing something before she did her roleplay death, and then she was just laying there.
That's
and I was
awesome.
like, okay, all right, that's pretty cool. So, that's all I saw, though. I didn't see too much of Last Man Standing.
That's cool.
so-
That's always cool when somebody has like a cool role play death.
Mhm.
I actually
Even on a delay.
yeah
It's still
no
kinda
even on,
neat, yeah.
sometimes it's like, hey, did you get me? Like, because I don't know for sure. You know,
Right.
like, did you? Because I don't. And they're like, yeah, and I'm like, and just then fall over. You know.
Right.
But yeah, then we had the costume contest today.
Right.
So that was cool.
Because the last, for anybody who's new to the costume contest, or if you're listening and you don't know about this, we have a costume contest on the last Sunday of the month. We always have a costume contest. So, and that was today.
Yeah.
So,
Looks like in third place was Raven Shadow Weaver, I
mhm,
believe is his
the
last
Weaver
name.
of Shadows.
Yeah. In second place, Lord Rand participated today. He came in second place.
Mhm.
Lord Rand Rainwalker. And then we should talk about this a little bit. I thought Wilhelm's costume, the additions to his costume today, was awesome, and he
Mhm.
came in first place,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and rightfully so, by a large margin too. I like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was looking at the tallies, and it was like, almost 3-1.
And what did he add to it? It was a shoulder piece.
He had
I
a
saw
shoulder
that. And like a
piece
scarf looking
and like
thing.
some kind of like water carrier
Oh
on
yeah,
his
he
hip.
had like some kind of like
and
utility belt
a
thing.
new like arm piece on the one thing, and then he added some costume pieces last week too, with some different colors and stuff like that. And I think it just kind of all came together real nice. So
Is that I didn't look at the writ very well, but did his is the colors that he added parts of the colors of his new clan? Is that why he
yeah,
added like,
so
the purple? And,
yep, the purple and the orange. That's I guess gonna be the colors of Dawn Phoenix or whatever, which is exciting. I mean, I'm excited to see
Yeah,
a new
for sure.
clan that's ran by somebody that like wants to put things into their clan. I'm excited to see where that goes.
Yeah, because he is the highest.
He's the highest level
XP
character
person
we have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's the only person at level 4. So
Really, he was
yeah.
the only person. Wow.
Yeah.
Right now. Cool.
So, but yeah, awesome costume. So he came in first for that. Then we had Patrol. We want to talk about that?
Sure.
We had 2 new heroes today, Midnight and Belnar.
Hmm.
Midnight, I think she may have been out a long time ago, maybe,
Mhm.
but she's playing that mute character, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And she had never went on patrol, so we hadn't let her go on patrol.
It was a good day to
And
do
yeah,
it.
she does play, which is we can talk about that for a minute. I talked to her a little bit like out of character about it, and the role play bet that we do.
Mhm.
I was telling her she should get in on that
I
because
agree.
like,
Though I will tell you, she would have lost today.
did you catch her doing it?
So like
Not-
right before you came up and asked her that, I was sitting at the wizard's tablet,
Uh-huh.
sitting there like making sure people that were logged out that needed to be logged out and all that kind of thing, and she was sitting there having a conversation with her friend. So she didn't do the mute thing all day,
Mhm.
but when everyone's around, she's really good about it. But
Mhm.
that's how you're gonna have to catch her with that.
Mhm. And then I also told her. Oh, go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
During events, she like
Taking
really
in breath over there. Go ahead.
During events, she really does try to role play that. Sometimes in town, it's easy to kind of forget that you should be doing that whenever you're just kind of talking to your
Well, if
friends
she's
about
in this
random
bet,
Yeah,
she
but
better
if she
not
gets in on the
forget, yeah.
bet, that's a different story, though.
Well, yeah, but whenever she is doing
And
events, she does because she was in my clan for 2 different events today, and or not clan, but like group. And I was talking to her, and she's like trying to sign to me, and she's like holding her swords and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know, let's just go over here. Like,
I mean, I say that in a way though, like as a lord, like if she was in my clan and I was the lord, I would almost love it, just because I talk, you listen, and I don't want to hear anything back.
No back talk.
Like I say flank left, you're going left. You know what I mean?
And then
And
she
she's
literally
on the way.
can't
Like that's
backtalk.
awesome. Like that's I mean that to me is almost like the perfect soldier. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that is pretty cool. And she does do a really great job with it. I just said today I noticed one moment where she would have failed, but ultimately she's doing better than most out there. So,
Even when I went up to
Yeah.
her to get her for a patrol, I said, "It's my understanding that you cannot speak." I
Yeah.
said, "So I'll try to keep it to yes or no questions."
Okay, that's awesome.
And then I like said, "So you have not been on the patrol, is that correct?" And she nodded her head,
Yeah.
correct, And I was like, "All right, well, here in a moment we're gonna get ready, and then you stay here, And she was like, she nodded her head again. She's like, "Okay."
Wonderful. That's
and
awesome.
then afterward too, at the end of the day, whenever I talked about the bet, I said you need to get on this bet, and I said then when you are talking, you can just do this. If you have to speak out of
Sure.
to whoever, you can raise your fingers or put them on your chest or whatever. And then I was also saying, but we're gonna have to figure something out for when you loot people or when you use abilities.
Oh,
and she
yeah.
was like, "Yeah, that's true. I haven't," because we were talking at that point. And she's like, I kind of thought about that too whenever I went to loot the ogre in patrol. Because we're like, "Oh, loot," and she's like, "I don't know what to do, if I should talk or what, And I basically said, I think what we'll do, and this is tentative, but she agreed with it. I think what we'll do is allow her to say verbals, and that's not a breaking of character because those verbals aren't necessarily us saying that
It's a
thing
game
anyway.
mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a thing to get your attention that doesn't exist because magic doesn't exist. So when I'm like gathering a fireball in my hands, you can't see that. But if we lived in a world where there was magic, you'd see it. And so the fact that you can't see it is what the verbal is for. It's to represent the thing that would get your attention to me casting magic over here. So like when she loots, I said when you loot or whatever, just say the verbal. If you have a verbal, you can say it. And it doesn't break character. I think is what we'll do.
Right.
And she
And that
said,
works for like abilities and stuff too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So
I
and
like
she
that.
agreed with it. She was like, "That's cool," So
Okay. There was some RPXP given for the patrol as well. That was Belnar and Trinity.
cool.
So
Not sure what they did, but cool.
I
Congratulations.
don't know either.
And then another thing too is what was the other thing I was thinking of? Oh, as at one point I wanted to give her roleplay experience. I didn't think about giving her roleplay experience, the bonus roleplay experience, because her not talking may keep her from getting the roleplay experience because then people don't pay attention to her. The fact that she didn't talk the whole time. Of course, I guess she'd have to do other stuff besides just not talk. But by the time I thought about doing that to help, it was already like at the end of the day, and I was like, oh well, I can't really give her a bonus now. But I thought part of her being a mute character also kind of makes it to where it's hard to like remember that she did good roleplay because she's also like, not in the spotlight
Right.
because she's not, I'm not looking over there or paying attention to what she's doing because she's not talking the whole time. So,
Right.
where if somebody's yelling and stuff, I'm like,
No.
whoa, what the heck's going on over there?
She's gonna have
But-
to put a lot of effort into her actions and make sure somebody notices her.
Mhm.
True.
At one point, apparently, she was following me around in town trying to get something, give me something or something. I kept just like looking away whenever she would be there.
That's
and so she
awesome.
like had to chase me around for a long time to get my attention. But finally, she did. So
That's pretty
You
funny.
need to get her some bells or something.
I would have
Yeah,
started
yeah.
smacking you. Like, come on, man. That's awesome, though. Yeah, so that was the patrol. And
Mhm.
then after that, in my opinion, the coolest thing that happened today was the swearing in of Don Phoenix and Lord
Mhm.
Wilhelm Arts,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was a huge amount of people there for a swearing in. Like,
including the Paladin.
yeah, I thought about that too.
Yeah.
As the paladin showed back up. A
Wh-
rival paladin too. He was scouting from a different group. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but that group's dead,
Oh, okay.
is my understanding. Like, he's actively looking for a group.
Oh, cool.
The problem is that, at least from what I was told, is that he works every Sunday. So
Oh,
if he did
okay.
come out and participate, it's going to basically be in the capacity that he did today.
Mhm.
Which is kind of cruddy.
Mhm.
And I don't know how much he would get into it because he's from the Dagger, whatever.
Dagger here or something.
Yeah, and I don't know how roleplay based those groups are. So
Well, maybe when we get at the property, he can come up there if he's off on Saturdays, and
That's
then
true.
we could get him into the roleplay a little bit easier.
I did see where he was like recording some of the different things we were doing. He was like recording patrol and the swearing in and stuff. He was just kind of standing there with his phone.
cool. I like that.
And I did notice whenever he was like kind of sparring with people over on the side, it seemed like he knew what he was doing.
Oh,
Like he was
he's from a
taking hits
rival
and
group,
stuff like
so-
that. So it's not. It didn't seem like he was trying to be like, oh, I'm cool. He was like legit trying to get into it. So, he might try to role play and stuff. Different groups do different things.
That's
so.
true. And just to tell like a kind of a quick story, we did the 5K on Saturday morning. There was a few of us. It was Eric the Red, myself, Lord Reese, Lord Rand Rainwalker, Heston Iverson, Lady Elizabeth. Well, would be Lady Elizabeth as soon as she swears in.
Yeah.
And then even Valkyrie and Rose showed up to give us support.
Yeah, I think that was all of them.
Oh, I know. I was there.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, so we're doing the 5K, and honestly, there was like a lot less people like there than I expected there to be. Like it wasn't like the parade where there was just people all over the place. There was like basically nobody there. And so our options as far as handing out cards were like handing them out to like workers and police officers at the stop signs. And so I was like, screw it, I'm just going to start giving cards to everybody. Until at one point I went to go give I was calling them paladins just to stay in role play basically, because we had made a bet on that day as well to stay in role play the entire time.
Oh, you guys did?
We
for
did.
The parade?
Yeah.
Or the 5K?
For the 5K. And actually, me and Heston and Lord Rand kind of trailed behind everybody else, and we just kind of did our own thing. But we stayed in role play. But anyway, so I go up and I talk to this police officer. Mr. Paladin, we need more warriors, whatever. And he's like, look, man, I'm not into it. Like, basically, he's like, not at all.
Get out of here.
Yeah. He's like, but the officer at the next stop sign, talk to him. He'll love it. Okay?
Yeah.
So I think he was trolling him, I think, is what was happening.
Oh, okay.
So I showed up to the guy that showed up today. That's who it was. And I was like, hey, I talked to the paladin at the last stop sign, and he said you definitely want to get on this,
Yeah.
And I was like, we're there, Evan. He's like, oh, what'd he say? He's like, oh, very funny. Like he was not having it. But he still showed up
Hilarious.
today, so that's awesome. But
Cool. But to get back to the swearing in,
yeah, it was
there
awesome.
were,
So many
it was
people.
Wilhelm Arts' clan. He's now Lord Wilhelm.
That's right.
And then, like you said, it was the Dawn Phoenix or Phoenix Dawn?
It's the Dawn Phoenix.
Okay.
Yep.
And yeah, we had 18 people on the lineup from when we do like the
Like the
steeple
weapon,
of swords or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah, there was 18 people, so 9 on each side, and that wasn't counting any of the marshals or anybody else. I was just counting the people on the sides.
Right.
So I mean, that's a lot of people to be there for the lineup.
Yeah, because we've done swearings before where there's like 3 people paying attention, like nobody one's involved.
Yeah, everybody's kind of doing their own
Which
thing.
to me is so we've talked about, and this is kind of tangent, but we've talked about before. One of the main issues that I had with Phlarp for a long time is I feel like the king never gets any respect, like ever.
Right.
And I feel like lords should get a level of respect that other people don't too. Like they are taking on responsibility that other people aren't.
Right.
And so to see like the support that was given today, I really appreciated that, because a lot of times we don't see that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and people need to take into consideration that, like, if it was their clan and they were being sworn in, would they want everybody over there, like, playing Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever?
Right.
Nobody was doing that today, but
No, but it happens.
Like,
It happens. Sometimes
Mhm.
people play card games or whatever.
yeah, and just not paying attention to anything that's going on. Like, for a clan, whenever they get sworn out in, that's an important, like, big event for them.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's big for all the other clans
It should
too,
be. It should be.
because it changes their numbers. It changes their competition.
Absolutely.
It
It changes the entire dynamic of what we do out there.
Right.
Because there's a new clan. Are they an ally? Are they an enemy?
It
Like
raises
it changes
the minimum.
the whole political stratosphere. Like
Mhm.
it changes everything. And I feel like when we go to property, people understand that a little bit better.
Mhm.
But even now, I feel like if I was swearing in as a lord and I had somebody disrespecting me by standing off on the side and training or whatever, I would take note.
Right.
So, but anyway, it was very cool swearing though, because like I said, a lot of people were there for that.
Yeah.
So
And then at the end,
yeah, that was kind
campaign
of the
is
best.
Kinda
active.
cheesy, yeah.
Everybody freaks out.
Well, it looked like Lord Wilhelm had a target on him the entire time during that swear-in, and I even like looked at the person that was targeting and was like, no, like you're not doing that.
Mhm.
And then somebody called, campaign being active anyway. It was almost real bad. And I'm happy that he did get out of that mess. So
I'm
I
just
got out of
happy
it, too.
I got to kill Trinity. It was the only
Did you
way
kill
I
him
could have
during
done
that?
it. Yeah.
yeah, she did.
Okay.
And then she bragged immediately about how she killed him, stabbed him right in the back. But that's a very kind of like rogue-esque thing. Are you thinking about playing a rogue?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm.
interesting.
I see.
I got to pick before next week, or I don't get XP.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So
Why not?
You can just sign up as a marshal.
because if you don't have, I'm not going to be a marshal. We've already been through this. But if you don't have your squatter test passed and your backstory done and everything turned in before next week, you don't get XP for anything. You don't get signed in.
That's
So,
true. So if you're listening to this and you haven't done that, you might want to think about doing that immediately. So,
I know
And
I
we'll-
don't want to miss
that
out on the
means
XP.
you.
and we'll talk about, we need to make a list of people that have finished that so I know who to log in and who not to log in next week.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that was that. Then we did the scramble.
Cool.
So,
And we chose Scramble. I'll chime in a little bit here. The reason I chose Scramble was so that there wasn't really like a lot at stake, so that people wouldn't feel compelled to continue to fight in the heat. It was really hot today. It was like 100 degrees or something crazy. And I wanted people to be able to drop out if they wanted to and come back in later or whatever, because as long as you're playing Scramble and get logged in for it, then it doesn't really matter if you drop in and out or whatever. You still get participation. There's no winner, so there's really no incentive to make you want to stay out there if you're like overheating.
right.
So that was the idea behind that.
That makes sense.
And I thought that went pretty well. We started with 3 teams, which is unusual. Usually we start with 2 and then go to 3. And I feel like the res points stayed pretty full even with 3 teams, or teams of 3 rather,
Right,
over
yeah.
there.
I
I thought
agree.
it went pretty well. I didn't have any magical items till right near the end. I went and got one because I got looted twice.
Oh, so you went and got the Chaos Emerald.
Yes, I
yeah?
did. And then
I was supposed to start with that this week. I
Did you
forgot.
end with that again this week?
No,
Oh.
I didn't get to release
I
it.
forgot about it altogether.
Mm.
So that's on me.
But I went over there for something else, to call another event or something. And I tried to make peace with them, but I was in campaign. So Arno stabbed me, I think, or somebody stabbed me, and Arno tried
Gotcha.
to loot me. I think it was Arno that was looting me. And then I pulled the Chaos Emerald out and I put it in his hand. And then Trinity immediately went over and looted him again. I don't know. I guess he wanted to die. I don't know what was going on. I got out of there because I was a ghost. So,
Yeah. Weird. I mean, I know who ended with it, but I'm not going to say because I imagine you have to give it to them at the beginning of next week. So,
Oh, yeah, it's possible.
so I'll tell you after the podcast is over.
Okay.
I know I played all day today with 2 copper in my pocket, and not a single person looted me.
Yeah, I had a pouch full of copper too, and I didn't get looted either.
And you can, just so everybody knows, you can loot. You can buff magical items with copper. So if you're even in Scramble.
Mm.
Any other games, the looting doesn't really work unless you just want it to work. Like if you're okay with giving somebody loot, you can, but it's not required. Like the rules are that you do not have to give a loot. But in Scramble, you could give a copper to buff to keep them from looting your magical item.
Right.
So might
Okay.
be valuable to have. And I did sell probably.
Copper's kind of cheap. I mean, it's not super expensive. I mean, you get
Mhm.
$5 and you can get what 20 pieces or.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
something like that.
I
Like
mean-
Yeah.
20. Yeah, yeah. Because they're.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pouch
250
full.
for 10. So.
So
And
And
I
then-
sold a gold and some. So they're out there. The coppers are out there because I sold a little over gold today. So.
awesome. I will say that if I go to buy copper again, I'm not going to buy copper. I want you to make. You got bigger pieces as well.
I got silver and gold.
Yeah. So
Silver and gold.
I'm going to need some of those too.
Okay.
Start bribing some people around the town. You know what I mean?
I need some bigger denominations, huh? Do
Mhm.
you have the smaller denominations to buff those bigger denominations?
Maybe.
Better.
Maybe. I have at least 20. I'll tell you that.
All right.
I'm just gonna keep
That's
buying
enough.
copper until I have like a Santa bag full of copper.
Yeah. You
And
will
I'm-
be a target.
I'm never gonna change them in for anything bigger. I'm just gonna
The Santa bag
Although-
of coin.
around.
Just as a little bit of foreshadowing, you know that when we go to property, right, and we have keeps and siege equipment and things like that,
Mhm.
the loot chest's minimum denomination that you can put into it that keeps people from stealing your actual loot is silver.
True.
I can put enough copper in there to equal
No,
silver.
No.
no, it literally has to be a
Because
silver.
you can only pick up one thing out of the chest at a time. That's why it's like that. But that's
I'm not a
probably a
lord.
conversation for another time.
Yeah.
I'm not a lord, so I don't need
Don't
to worry
cheat,
about it.
okay?
All right, fine. It is what it is. So she don't have to
Watching
worry
you.
about the chest. But that's
Oh, okay. But your lord will be.
Sounds like them problem.
Oh, you're a mercenary, aren't you? Okay. Well,
Yeah, that's true.
it might be then.
Anyway,
All right.
team deathmatch was the last thing. Black Rose won that. Rand, Trinity, Heston, Raven,
You
Pius.
just have your big copper pouch or whatever.
And then the RP given on that was Heston and Rand. There was not one. No, that was it.
Was
Right.
that for scramble?
That was for team deathmatch.
Oh, team death. Oh, it's because me and you played, so it ended up being where we couldn't give out RPXP for it.
Right.
We played to try to make it more than just teams of two, or two teams rather, of like 5 or something, or 6. It would have been 2 teams of like 7. And we
Yeah.
made 3 teams of 4 or something. I don't know.
No,
I'm not doing the
It was
math
3
right.
teams of 5, so it would have been like 7 and 8.
Okay.
But
What-
either way,
Was there role play XP for scramble?
not written down here anyway.
Oh.
So,
Well, there was. I can tell you, I got it.
oh, okay. Well, it's not written down on our piece of cheat sheet here.
Well,
So I'm sorry that you were left out.
I do. I feel very left out.
I'll look.
Okay.
There was RPXP, yes, given to Bolvar and Mercer Stitch.
There you go. And Bolvar is one of our dwarfs there. So
And some, yeah.
Trinity straight slayed me, and then he hit me in the back, and I was like, oh, and I like fell down like this, and then he's like, and all my limbs were like, and I just like stuck there for like,
that's awesome.
Nice. Wes, I think it was, picked a dwarf today too, and Bolvar was standing near him, and he was like, "Yeah, dwarves." I was like, "Cool."
I love that. I love like when people
Found
are
some
like passionate
companionship.
about their race on,
Yeah.
especially in like a fantasy-based game.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Wes is playing a dwarf too.
Or one of them. I think it was Wes.
That's cool.
One of them asked me about the races that exist.
I just don't think I would want. Like I would have to grow the beard because I wouldn't want to wear the
Like
fake
a
beard.
Mm.
Yeah. So
I don't
maybe
know.
start growing one.
Well,
I thought the
There's-
one what the
We'll just say there's-
crochet one or whatever was pretty cool. That one,
Yeah,
those
I
ones
just
that
think
they
it
make.
would get real like
It does
itchy
get crazy,
and,
like right where your
yeah.
mouth is. Yeah.
I didn't have time
Like
today for the
sweaty and
costume
kinda wild.
contest, but the next costume contest,
Mm.
You
Okay.
know,
You're
better
gonna
be
grow your
prepared.
beard out for it.
I'm gonna just push it right out there.
That'd be pretty cool. I would definitely vote for you.
If I just stood up there and my beard went poop.
Yeah.
I
Fair
don't know,
enough.
get
But
some
anyway, that's the
hormones or
recap, guys.
something, you know?
That
Or
was
you
it.
have Big thick beard. Okay.
Just tape a squirrel to my face. No, I'm not really gonna do that.
She's a druid.
So do you have anything today for your thing?
Oh, yeah. All right.
Ooh,
so
Daveen's corner.
are we
I'm
ready
excited.
for
Daveen's
Daveen's Corner? Woo! Okay. So I got a few today. We'll just go ahead and run through them real quick. Can anyone tell me what does a robot do after sex?
I don't
Wow, that's. I
He
don't even have.
nuts and bolts.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Here's another one. So I went to the doctor the other day, and he told me I had to stop masturbating. When I asked him why, he said, "Because I'm trying to examine you."
That's awesome.
Oh, man. Some of you may have heard this one before, but I still think it's funny. Why isn't there a pregnant Barbie doll?
I mean, there is, but continue with your joke.
I mean, way to ruin my joke. But the answer is because Ken comes in a different box.
Wait
not even
Wait a
pi-
minute. Read this one. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
my
Read it
goodness.
again. I know.
So the joke is, why isn't there a pregnant Barbie doll?
Okay.
And the response is, because Ken comes in a different box.
Okay. Okay.
All right,
I'm really glad I went back and heard that one. Awesome.
I'm sure you are.
Yes.
All right, this is the last one. 2 nuns were walking through the park one day, and they got a bit tired. So one of the nuns suggested to the other that they sit on a bench and relax for a bit. As they sat there, this random guy runs up and flashes the 2 nuns. Full frontal nudity. One of the nuns had a stroke. The other nun couldn't reach. And that was Daveen's Corner.
Where they get more inappropriate every week.
Yeah.
No filter now.
No one's drawn any lines, so it just keeps pushing it further.
You know, I asked. I was like, is this one okay? He's like, yeah, that's fine. Is this one okay? That's fine. And I was like, you know what? Whatever I want, you know?
There you go.
I'll start trying to pass these around while I'm kind of filtering the rest of them.
Sure. You want to?
Sweet.
Apparently, you got that one taken away from you.
So this is the suggestion box we're going to start in with.
Okay.
All right, who's going first? Me? Sure. Perhaps less scramble and other events instead. Scramble is fun, but it offers less XP, and we play less events.
I do.
We did already explain why we played Scramble today, but I mean, we hear
Yes.
you. We hear the player base saying Scramble's getting old. Like, I hear you.
I think Scramble is really fun. I enjoy it, and for new players, I think it's really fun. But I think that letting it go on for a really long time, I understand people's
I mean, to
frustration.
be fair, we didn't do that today,
No,
though.
we didn't today. But I understand people's frustration with wanting to get XP for other things.
That's true.
So
I get that, too. Okay, so I might butcher some of this. I got the hard-to-read one this week. This one says, the gods speak, a great schism is forming. I think that's the right word.
Yeah, I think so.
I fear war is inevitable. So, how do you feel about that? War coming? The gods speak. The gods. Which gods? I don't know, but the gods speak it.
Okay.
wow, that's
You got another one over there?
well. I think we
Oh,
might.
dang.
I think we might have a.
That one's confusing.
Oh,
Not confusing, but
I already read that one.
okay.
I have one that I don't know if we have another character out there besides the writer and the watcher.
Okay.
Oh, is there another one?
Maybe it says after 300 years of lies, cheating, and heartache, an elf tries to date a centaur. She decided it was time for a stable
Oh.
relationship. The Jester.
Oh man, that's awesome. Okay, I got one from the same guy,
Oh,
Mr. Jester here too. It says, sadly, the new butcher shop dispensary has gone out of business. The owner knew it was a risk, for the stakes have never been higher.
Oh my goodness!
That's funny. What do you got over
I
there,
think
North?
somebody's trying to hijack Daveen's corner over here.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. Who is this Jester?
I think we should end on that one.
Okay.
So this one says, taunt shouldn't be a guaranteed kill against rangers, rogues, and wizards. They should be able to use throwies/spells while taunted. I'm not saying I'm necessarily opposed to this. I used to say unofficially that if you already had the thing in your hand, you could release it on the way over there, but you still had to honor whatever it was. Like, so if you had to go over there and like punch their sword or whatever and take an arm or whatever, like stick your arm out and hope they took that before they killed you
Yeah.
and then run away. But then that became really confusing because people were like, well, now can I get my packet out? And they were like grilling me about the finer details of how it works and stuff. So I was like, okay, just never mind. If you can't use throwies as a response to a taunt. So I'm not completely opposed to it. I would have to think about how that would
Yeah.
specifically work.
And I have some thoughts on this as well because I actually agree with what they're saying. But what I would say is, as a marshal, if I saw that happen, where somebody pulls out, let's say a wizard gets taunted, and he is in the direction of the guy, but at the same time is pulling a magic stone out of his thing to throw it. I'm okay with that. But what I would say is if I noticed there was any delay,
Any hesitation.
any hesitation on them taking that taunt because of them trying to get a packet out of their bag, I would just call them dead. So, like, if that's what you want to do because you feel like you're going to die anyway, like, I just think it makes it a lot harder on the marshals to, like, determine, did he hesitate?
Mm-hmm.
Is
Right.
he stalling to get stuff out of his bag? Those kind of things.
And then like, well, North said I could throw a throwy on the way, and now I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I
So
did, but
maybe we talk about that at a later time. Like, I mean, today, but not
And-
on podcast.
and maybe ideas, if you have any ideas on how this should work exactly, like, you know, you can try to put it in the comments. Maybe that might help us a little bit. I don't know. It's a difficult thing to figure out. Like I said, I would almost be okay with the rule of, and also it depends how you role play it. Like, if it was me, I don't think I'd ever have anybody calling it on me, and I would probably still try to throw my throwy on the way because I would be role playing the entire thing. I'd be
Right.
like, oh, taunt me, hey, take this, I just run over there, and if I die, I die. You know, I'm just role playing the anger I have or whatever I have towards this person because they taunted me.
Mm-hmm.
But when it starts coming down to like finer details of exactly how that works, it's difficult for me to like make a ruling on it, basically.
And
So-
that's a good point that you just brought up too, because I feel like a lot of people, when they hear taunt, they think of the ability taunt, but not necessarily what that player is doing. If a warrior taunts you, he's like, to me, you're calling out my manhood. You're like, I want to hurt you right now. I'm coming at you. You taunted me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't
So
feel
much
like
so
people
that you
look at
lose
that.
it
They're
or-
like, oh, well, now I have to go attack him because it's like, you shouldn't look at it like that. You should look at it like he has taunted you. He's called you out. You want him. Like, I want to hurt you right now. As soon as your blades touch or whatever, maybe the taunt's over. You don't feel that
It was
way no
enough
more.
Yeah.
But I feel like people should look at it as what it is rather than the game ability.
Right.
Which would have made this never get changed.
Right.
If people would do that, I would have never changed it from the thing I said before.
But this is one of those things that we've dealt with for a long time where somebody reads an ability and they're like, how can I make this work to my advantage?
Yeah, and then the ability becomes basically more powerful than it should originally
Right.
be. Like, if you don't have a counter to taunt, you don't have anything in your hands, and they taunt you, you're basically dead.
Right.
Like, if you happen to hit an arm, cool, but if you have, I don't know, it's like you said, they don't necessarily look at it like that. Like, they're seeing it from their character's perspective to where they're like, whatever I got in my hands, whenever they taunt me, I'm just going to go over there and see what happens, No, they're like, oh, well, how exactly do I engage with this taunt in order to,
Right.
like, live or whatever? Or
'cause
to, like,
my thought process on is if I'm a wizard and I have a staff and a packet or whatever I have and somebody taunts me, okay, fine. I'm going to go over there. We're going to connect staff to sword or shield or whatever it is. And, well, I guess it wouldn't be a shield, but whatever. You get my point. I'm going to connect and it's done. It's over. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't have anything in your hands, that's kind of on you.
or like, let's say,
Or if I'm also,
example.
I feel like I have the ability to pull a packet out of my pouch as I'm running at someone. Like, I wouldn't hesitate. I feel like I could do all that.
like, all at the same time.
And if you're a ranger, same thing. Let's say you get taunted and you're a ranger.
And you have
a bow staff.
knocked. If
Yeah.
you have it knocked, can you just go ahead and release it and then
I mean,
run
it
at him,
depends
pull
on
your
how.
sword out?
Sure, I think
you
so.
know.
But I mean, it also depends on how close they are. But also, if you have a bow staff, which is something you have access to, block with your bow and run away. You know
and
what I
even
mean?
somebody without that ability, if it's foamed up, which I talked to one of our archers today about that, you can defend with it. You don't have to get the ability to defend with it.
Right.
It just stuns like a wizard staff if you do get the ability bow staff.
Right.
So
Anyway, that's kind of my thought process on it. But maybe
So if they-
maybe we look at that.
I think what
so
people
I'm not saying no, but I'm not necessarily agreeing to it either. It's something I need to think about further. Go ahead.
I think sometimes people have ideas of how they want things to work because they see it from their advantage. But I think that some people don't think about, like, when you change a rule in the rule book, you have to figure out the verbiage so that anyone who reads it can understand what it's supposed to be.
Sure, and what it's supposed to do, because
And-
some people try to like misuse the words in the rule book.
Right. And when you're talking about, like, making a decision based on actions that can happen in a millisecond, and that be the deciding factor on if you can do it or not, it gets tricky to be able to word that where people understand where the line is.
Right.
Or that even if they cross the line inadvertently on accident, even because they're like in the moment or whatever, for us to see it. Like he
Right.
was saying, like, you know, sometimes it makes it more difficult for the marshals because then the marshals are having to really speculate on intent about did he do it as fast as he could, or you
Right,
know,
which
Right.
is
and
kind
it
of a
becomes
nightmare
difficult,
for you know a referee essentially. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I don't know. I think that's something we talk about, but I don't know that it's an answer we can come up with just
But-
right now.
But good job on a suggestion, because anything we stick at for a minute there and talk about like that, it was a good thing to bring up. So
And I agree. I agree with you that it needs change. I just don't know how to change it. So if you have any suggestions on what we could do to change it to make it better, please let us know.
both of these are kind of the same thing. And I'm not going to read exactly what it says because I'm not sure that the wording is. Basically, it's like people need to control their temper while they're at LARP. We're there to have fun. We're not there to wig out and intimidate people and be scary, you know. So that's all it is. I'm just going to move on, but just know that there was a couple suggestions about people being intimidating. So.
Okay.
And one of them actually pointed out that the person should make it more clear that they're role playing is basically the problem. It isn't the problem that they're necessarily being intimidating. It's that they're not doing anything to make sure that anyone else knows that they're actually role playing. So, which I kind of agree with. Like, I do take it upon myself to make sure that I touch base with people after I've role played them. It's particularly intense, and make sure they understand, hey, I was not like angry or whatever.
Sure. And we've all been there. I mean I'm sure time-wise we're probably getting where we need to move on, but you know, I don't know if you remember that Lord's meeting where I got furious
Mm-hmm.
and I like slammed my hands
Mhm.
on the table and I was like demanding the attention of that room.
Mm-hmm.
That was all role play, and I'm pretty certain that everyone knew that it was role play.
Mm-hmm. I even remember for that meeting, I'm pretty sure all throughout, like we would role play really hard or whatever, like be talking about something that our characters were very passionate about, and then crack a smile in between. I remember people
I'm
doing
sure.
that,
Yeah.
where they were like, like laughing about it because they understood that this is funny, but it's also intense
because
because it's
this
like
is
a
like
role
things we
playing. But
believed in, you know. I mean, this was, and I think that one may even have been in reference to like which direction we were going
Mhm,
next,
I
which
think
was a
so.
huge deal. I mean,
and
Yeah.
where we were scouting and stuff, it was like the second time.
Yeah.
When we had just beaten the McCulloch region, we were scouting for the next region, or maybe we had already scouted once.
I don't
and
remember
then we
exactly
were
what
going
it
to
was.
scout again or something, but
No.
it was an intense
Which
meeting.
I'm not saying doing it now, but I think maybe next week on the podcast we tell about our little scouting stories and maybe what happened with the whole Sarah Onyx situation.
Oh yeah, that might be a good
I think
story
that
to
would
share.
be. Yeah, I agree. But anyway,
And then this one is about basically about archers holding their bows at full draw whenever they don't need to, because it's like freaking people out. Because when they do hit them, there's twice now, and this is true. And it also states that it hasn't been the same person. I'm not using the exact wording they're using, but basically they're saying that people need to be careful about the draws on the bow. And I agree with what that means is the proximity of the person should be based. The draw of the bow should be based on the proximity of the person. So when somebody's like standing 5 feet from you, you don't need to draw it full draw it to get it to them. There's no reason to keep it at full draw. In case you do want to let it go, you don't have to pull it very hard to get an arrow to shoot to somebody that's just 5 feet from you. And when you're pulling it back all the way and pointing it at them like this, it's very intimidating. You'll make them like get away from you without even really being able to engage with you in the LARP game because they're just freaked out that they're going to get bashed in the face with an arrow.
which did happen today.
Yeah.
It bloodied his
And
mouth.
it's the
I
second
got hit in
time,
the forehead today.
and it's the second time that we've had blood drawn from a bow. I don't think we've even had blood drawn from a weapon this time around.
No.
Anyway.
No, we're pretty safe with like the weapon checks and stuff.
And we do a draw test on the bows, but that draw test is at max draw, and that's only supposed to be if somebody's pretty far away. If you need to do a max draw to get it to them, basically. And there's a rule about that, just like with the throwies. You're not supposed to throw the throwies or shoot the arrow any further than it takes to basically get to your target. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in this particular instance, without naming anybody or whatever, I'm noticing that person, when they're doing the full draw, I don't think it's like for like how far they want the shot to go. It's more about speed. So they're drawing back basically at full draw as quickly as they can and releasing it for a speed thing. But the problem is it's
okay.
just getting there too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and at pretty close range too.
And it can be even daunting for whenever I was shooting a bow before, I would get worried sometimes about hitting people in the face and stuff because
Sure.
you can aim at their chest and you have them directly at this trajectory, but then you're up a little high and bang, you got their face. You know?
Right. It's just a dangerous element.
So
But-
you have to be careful in case you do hit them in the face. You want to make sure that it's not going so fast that it's going to knock their socks off or whatever. So
I do think sometimes that it's easy for people with a bow to not realize they're pulling back that far. Like they don't, when you're using a bow, you don't have any other weapon in your hand. So if you have 3 people
but
running
it can't
towards you,
the onus can't possibly be on the person that they're shooting at, though. But I mean,
no,
I get what you're saying.
No,
but
I'm just saying, like, when you have somebody running
need
up
to
on
stop.
you, you kind of freak out and just pull back, and you're shooting as they're coming towards you.
I mean,
I guess.
So
I appreciate you
you're
playing
going
devil's
to
advocate,
use-
but
But
stop.
I feel like if you're gonna use a bow, though, you need to be aware that that's a possibility and practice more, so that you don't get so freaked out about
I
it.
mean, that's fair.
Right.
I also think, and this is just me, I also think that if you play a ranger and you use a bow, that you should have another weapon on you. So when somebody does get too close, you're not shooting at them at 5 feet away.
right.
And then another thing too, whenever was really big before, and this time it hasn't been too big, but if you're shooting a bow, keep in mind you are at the forefront of the rules that are going to be created on that bow.
True.
In other words, if you're not careful, what's going to happen is we're going to create more and more rules to limit the
Yep.
bows because I
Less
don't have
bow
any
power,
choice.
less.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
Or we'll start doing again where you can only shoot. When
We
you're-
had arrow caps at one point. Do you remember that? Where you could only carry so many arrows. I thought.
Oh
that,
yeah, and then also we used to do a thing where you'd had to be 15 feet away. I took that out at some point. Maybe that could end up going back in if it keeps being an issue. I mean, I would have to do something. I can't
Right.
just
Yeah.
let people get in their faces.
Like we have
bashed
to be
or-
proactive rather than reactive. So
Yeah,
I
like
agree.
I got hit in the forehead today and my teeth clanked. Like it was.
rocked your world, huh?
Yeah, which I mean, I was a skeleton when it happened, but still.
I don't think- okay. What else we got?
I mean, it was cool role play, but it kind of hurt.
Let's move
Yeah.
on. I think we're
Did we read that last one?
I haven't.
I have 2, but you keep skipping ahead of me.
Well, you go ahead. Read yours.
Okay.
This one says, "This week was some of the most fun I've had. What are the rules for joining a clan and not telling the rest of the heroes?"
This is probably what I was talking about earlier.
I don't know how you'd get swore in. We'd have to swear somebody in, right? Joining a clan
No,
or
no,
starting a clan?
joining a clan. So I think this is in reference to what I was talking about earlier, but also the cap hasn't been increased yet. But let's just say it was. Let's say next week somehow there's a 7th lord. They want to add, somebody wants to add a 7th member to their clan without telling anyone. You could do that, right?
Yes.
But they wouldn't be picked with you in events.
They wouldn't at first. What would happen is, like, let's say, hypothetically, in the middle of an event, this is what I would allow. If somebody goes into an event and they get hired as a mercenary and they're on a completely different team, as long as that team has enough slots to be able to, like, if they're like, oh, it's okay, we're okay with being down 1 for this, we're okay with being an even 1.
Okay.
In the middle of that battle, if that mercenary switches sides and goes and joins that other team at any point, like, creates a great betrayal or whatever the hell, and then they go back over to their own team, that's fine. It's just that only the cap of how many people is supposed to get XP for that clan can get XP for it. And then from then on, they would be in that clan. So like
you would allow like them to sign up as a mercenary and then just backstab the whole group, and then be
Yeah.
like, and actually I'm in this clan. Like you
as
would
long
allow
as
that.
they kept a spot open for whatever it was, like if they were like, we're okay being down a person, that way it wasn't uneven whenever you switch teams.
Gotcha.
Like, yes, you would be a person away from them, but they kept as long as it was still even, basically, as far as numbers wise. Actually, you might want to wait for the battle for the crown to do that. Would be the most epic time to do it,
Right.
because then you get hired out on a
Of course, we're a little ways away from
Sure,
a
but-
battle for the crown, but I hear
yeah,
ya.
so they probably don't want to wait that long. But the most ideal situation would be in a battle for the crown, because then you don't really have a limit on who gets the XP at the end.
It's true.
So the only limiting thing is only 7 of them or whatever. If it's a clan battle where 7 people are supposed to be on this team and 6 are on this team and they're down 1, or they're like, it's all right, we're okay with facing 8 versus 6, and then that person in the middle betrays a bunch of those people and goes over here, and then it's 7-7. That person can still get XP as a winner in that
Gotcha.
in that clan or whatever, in that group.
Okay.
But then everybody would know.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Yes,
Then
that's
the
why I
secret
said
would be
I
out.
would save it as much as possible to a big event where they can do like a great betrayal or whatever.
There you go.
Makes sense.
And also once they do that betrayal, like you said, they're basically stuck not being able to do that again, kind of.
Right. If you're gonna do it, you better make it
Because
good.
after that moment, they would then start getting picked with their clan.
That's fair, I think. Do you have another one?
I do.
That way, the mercenary thing kind of allows you for you to be able to do that. What my thinking is.
It says, "Thank you for those who were understanding today."
Cool.
Mm.
I was understanding.
I probably wasn't.
Okay.
I had a horrible day. All right, well,
Fair enough.
I got the last one here. This is also from the Jester.
Oh.
It says, "To the writer, I cannot come up with a joke that compares to you.
Oh.
Last time I heard someone say I'm coming as much as you, it reminded me to close a page on my sending stone." Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's funny.
I mean, it is, but it's kind of rude.
Yeah, well, to be fair, we're
we
hearing
get-
a lot of threats and no action, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
And I actually do have a couple more. I just realized I had
was
one
that to
in
the
here.
writer or to
I
the
do have
watcher?
some
That was to
kind
the
of-
writer.
Oh. Do we have anything from the writer this week?
It's a good
Yeah, I think
question.
so.
What?
I think I do.
You
So,
think you do?
Did you watch the podcast last week?
I was
I
in the
watched it
podcast.
and I missed it.
Doesn't matter because
I saw it.
I didn't miss that part.
I
tried
told
to
him
find
about it,
but-
so
I told him about it too.
So this one says,
He acted like it was me that told him first, but I think he might have been just playing to make me feel better.
oh, because you think it's him?
I mean, we both told him about what happened last week,
Yeah.
and he acted like he,
He didn't
heard it for the
know.
first time
Yeah.
from both of us.
He said he
so-
searched it, like he tried to find it and couldn't find it.
what
To
did they
be
say
fair-
again?
To be honest, it was
It said,
basically a copy
"This
of the
is
Watcher.
The Watcher.
Yeah, it was a really cool voice. Actually, it was a very good editing by our editor. To be honest, it
yeah,
was very cool.
pretty good.
But it kind of just emulated what the Watcher or what the writer has been saying. It was kind of
Oh, okay.
I
so
mean,
it was the watcher.
it was calling out all the clans individually.
Yeah.
So, but you know, there's two of them.
This one just kind of reiterates a little bit about the aggressive thing. Hey, being aggressive is not cool. It's not very nice. And then it says, "Sorry, but today was really hot. Sorry, today was really hot, but an okay day." That was it.
Yeah, I
And
was
then it
sorry
says,
it was
"I love
hot too. I was kind of miserable today. So this with the heat.
And this,
Yeah, this
Is
is the
the-
big ticket item here.
the
Loud.
unsealed.
So you said you found this in your garb,
yes.
because I'm kind of playing to it a little bit. But at some point, I just watched him like pull this out of his tunic.
It
It
was
was
way
like-
into the day too. It was like way into the day.
Kind of
Yes.
sus, honestly.
Was it
Somebody
just, like,
slipped it in my tabard in between.
And you
here
didn't
and
notice?
here. No, they're
Listen,
tricky.
It would have been more
They were really
believable if
tricky.
you were like, it was in my pant leg like a dryer sheet. Like I
don't
didn't
know how
it
it got
was
in there.
Yeah, what do you got here? Why are we laughing?
Apparently something hilarious.
'Cause I said-
Oh no! Oh, dude, God, that is hilarious. Because last week you're like, "Well, there will be now."
Yeah.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Oh my god. Okay, this one's actually we'll give her that one because that one's you. Do you want to read your own?
No,
Okay, then
What
you
is the
take
one
that
about
one.
me?
there's another one about
You
me.
take that one, and I'll
It's
take
just
this one.
every. You know what, Mister? Ooh, that makes me so mad. Every week.
You want to hear yours? Let's hear Ye Futons. He's not here first. Let's do his first.
All right, that's who I have, right?
Yes.
All right. This says, "Ye Futon, to have come as far and still be so unimportant would frustrate most.
Ouch.
Keep at it, little puppet, and maybe one day you'll be a real warrior. Fenrir draws near. Ragnarok is inevitable."
Dang.
Yeah, that's
Roasted, bro.
to be fair though. Anyone that listened to the podcast last week, Ye Futon's literally like, "Oh, he hasn't talked to me yet," and we're like, "Well, we only talk to important people." So like we were like kind of roasting him about it. So like the fact that this showed up this week is, one, hilarious, and two, lets me know that the writer watches the podcast.
Yeah, apparently.
Yep.
All right. This one says, Daveen, understand this, elf.
Okay. I hear you.
Do not take my words as an insult. You have great power, and I acknowledge your strength.
Okay.
The strength of your BO. No, I'm just joking. However, it doesn't say that. Acknowledge your strength. However, I will point out your weakness. You lack confidence in yourself and your abilities.
Well, I don't have any ability. So.
I look forward to our future battles. Power is everything. Prove to yourself what I know. You are a step above the rest of these pathetic, quote-unquote, heroes. Know that now, it is time for you to acknowledge it. Fenrir draws near. Ragnarok is inevitable.
So was there a nugget of a compliment? in
Yeah, I
there,
think so. You
seems
got
like a
complicated.
compliment.
Yeah, you didn't even
Hey,
really get roasted.
well, you know, I'm still waiting, but thank you. I guess I'll think more of myself from now on.
I don't think yours is so nice.
Okay, mine's not a
Oh,
compliment.
you got one too?
Yeah.
No, it says north, leading a town or tending to your cattle. It's very surprising to see how many heroes so many heroes following a vampire.
Oh.
How often do you feed your flock?
Ooh.
Maybe that is why you do nothing to stop the constant bickering, because it entertains you to have the so-called heroes trained to death while you watch for your own amusement.
Oh,
I mean,
dang, dude.
they're not totally
Fenrir
wrong.
draws near.
Go ahead.
Ragnarok
Does
is
that
inevitable.
feel personal? Did that sting a little?
Yeah, a little bit.
He
Not
let
too
it get
bad,
to his
though.
head, man. But to be fair, mine last week was personal. I was like, man, they got me there. It was all true.
No. Well, it's kind of strange though that they were like dogging you and then giving you a compliment.
Yeah, I don't
mean,
know. That's true. I
I
wonder
don't
if
think my vampirism is that much of a threat.
What?
that's
My
what he took there.
vampirism.
You guys follow a vampire. And he's like, that's what offended him.
Yeah, there's no other vampires. I'm the only one, I think. Which could mean something, right?
To be fair, I
Means
will
I'm
say
not
this.
running around chomping on.
Daveen, Heston Iverson, Lord Rand Rainwalker, we were having a conversation about where these bodies are going.
Yeah.
And our main theory was, does North have these things stockpiled up somewhere, and is he sucking the blood out of them?
Is that why you guys asked me what happens to the bodies?
That's part of the reason, yeah.
Okay.
And then he said they decompose
And
into the
disintegrate.
ground.
I said they disintegrate, yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Mhm.
Sus.
Yeah.
Okay, this one says, everyone. Until death comes, my voice shall be silent.
Oh.
My actions will bring blood, and you will weep for your fallen. My fangs will sink deeply, and we will rip the flesh from your bones.
Is this also
Not,
a vampire?
Not my fangs. The writer's
Is this a
fangs.
vampire too?
I don't know.
Fenrir arrives. Fenrir arrives.
What?
Ragnarok is upon you.
Oh,
Dun, dun,
No more
dun.
writing. They're done writing.
that's what it sounds like.
Dang.
So it sounds like they're ready to reveal themselves.
That's what it sounds like to me. I'm
Wow.
ready. I mean, it's a little ominous and, it's a little scary, but
They built up the anticipation
Yeah.
for so long that we're like, just
I
bring
hope it doesn't let me down.
Right.
Let's make that the code word, Ragnarok. Want to make the code
Yeah,
word Ragnarok?
let's do that. Ragnarok is the code word, which, to be fair, I'd already forgot about the code word, so
Nice.
wow. Well, what do you think?
I guess
We got
that's
time
it.
for anything else?
I don't know. We got time for my quiz thing, but
Do you want to save it for next week?
yeah, let's do that. We're in an hour in, 56 minutes in. I think we're good.
You guys didn't give your play of the day today.
My play of the day,
Was when you stabbed me in the back
No.
7 times in Scramble.
it wasn't 7 times. It was at least once, though. I will give you that.
That's not saying much. I got him in the back too.
he just like leaves it open, you
Yeah.
know? It's like he's asking for it, really.
Mm-hmm.
These are hard because though I do like look for like other stuff, like a lot of it's like what happened to me. Not
Mhm.
even so much like what I did good, but just things that happened to me. Those are the things that I noticed the
Right.
most. Arno had a really nice throwy kill on me today. Just snuck past my shield, hit me in the chest, and I dove on the ground for him. I did my best roleplay death, but that would probably be my play of the day was Arno's kill on me today.
All I could think of was it Arno and Rand? They were fighting at the end of something, Scramble or
A couple times actually today.
and he did like a flip thing. He like flipped on one of his hands or something, and it like he dodged the shot. I think with it.
That's
I
nice.
think you were kind of over there, so I don't know. if
Yeah,
you
I was
saw it or
laying
not,
on the
but-
ground under the tree. I
Oh
was hot.
yeah, okay. But yeah, he did like kind of almost like a backflip, but he did like a handspring or something. But he only had one arm, and he did like a flip thing to dodge a weapon. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and to be fair, Arno's also like the ability tumble like is exactly like Arno was
Made
made
for him,
for
yeah.
you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
for tumble.
Mhm.
Because like I'm gonna get tumble at some point. I'm not gonna use it.
Yeah, no.
It's just a wasted
I'm gonna lay
ability for
down
me.
on the ground and roll. Just
Yeah.
like tumble.
Tumble, you
Tumble.
can't get me.
It better be on a hill where I got a little momentum to roll me
Yeah.
down.
I'd break my neck trying to tumble down a hill.
Yeah. But Arno does. I mean, I'll never forget him rolling down through there.
Like a hat in the wind.
That was my analogy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, anyway, we hope you keep listening. We hope you keep fighting in the name of Daveen.
Thanks for covering my line.
And we hope to see you all next week.
Bye.